This is lesson 5-4, graphing a function rule.
Here's some new vocabulary for this lesson. A discrete graph is any graph of distinct, isolated points that are not connected. A continuous graph is an unbroken graph of points. In other words, points that are connected to each other. To decide if a function should be discrete or continuous, you need to ask yourself the question, given the situation, do all values in this situation make sense? For example, graphing the weights of different cheeses made on a given day would be continuous since all weights are possible. Graphing the number of cars sold in any given month would be discrete because there's no way you can sell part of a car if you're selling cars. Here's your procedure. Set up a 4-column table. Your independent variable should be on the left-hand side. You can choose your own values, but typically when you're just graphing any function, you want to choose between -2 and +2. Write your function rule, then your dependent variable that you get, and finally your ordered pair at the end. Complete the table and use a calculator to find your dependent values. Plot your points, and connect the dots only if the function is continuous. Check your graph anytime you want on a graphing calculator. Let's take a look at an example. Graph the function rule y equals 2 minus x. Pause the video at this point to give yourself a chance to do the work. So the first thing I want to do is fill in my table. I plug all the x values in and do the work to get y, and then I write my ordered pairs all the way over to the right. I then am going to plot these points as such. Then, since this is just a simple function rule and all values are possible, I need to connect the dots to make it a continuous function, like so. I always want to make sure anytime I do a graph that I write my function rule next to the graph itself, on the graph. Here's an example dealing with bananas and the cost of them. Pause the video at this point to give yourself a chance to do the work. So the first thing I see is that I want to set up my chart like such. Then, I need to realize it's a continuous function because parts of a pound are possible. With w being my independent variable, that means this is going to be a continuous function, and I need to connect the dots at the end. Now, I've decided I'm going to start at 0 because negative weights do not make sense. So when I fill in my chart, it looks like such: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I want to fill in the rest of my chart by doing all of the mathematics and arithmetic involved. As such, you can see here. Now, I'm going to label my axes and plot the points. So I label my axes C and W, and I have decided to go up by ones. Then, I plot my points. From there, I'm going to connect the dots and label my function. If you're having any issues with this particular lesson, please consult your teacher in class.